What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the podcast we bring you each and every day. Of course, it's the Shankly Sessions. It's a match reaction to the City game yesterday. Man City won, Liverpool won. A kind of an interesting game and a strange game, I would say. But we're going to get into it. We'll have a quick chat about it. Won't keep you too long. I know it's Sunday. People can be busy and stuff like that. So we'll do a quick little run through on it, discuss some of the topics that came through and all that kind of stuff, and have a bit of crack as always. But before we get into the show, of course, news reaching us, of course, that Terry Venables has sadly passed away at the age of 80. What a character this man was in football. Absolutely crazy, but always spot on and stuff like that. And always had those sharp answers ready to go and stuff like that. But I remember we were potentially thinking about bringing him in as Ireland manager at one stage. And there was a lot of heat surrounding that and stuff like that, namely from created a lot of debate between Liam Brady and John Giles and Eamon Dunphy, of course, on Irish TV when the talk is that Terry might be coming in and stuff like that. But of course, synonymous, of course, with his time at Barcelona, Tottenham, England manager, and of course went off to manage Australia as well. So we remember Terry Venables today, who has sadly passed away at the age of 80, another great character from the world of football. Very sad to see him go. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, friends, and the wider community out there attached to Terry Venables and stuff like that. So very sad. I think we get to this age, don't we, where we start to lose people that we kind of grew up on, that were synonymous with our football fandom at times and stuff like that. And I always remember his conversations and the stuff with Gaza and all that. And of course, how could we forget 96 and stuff like that and all, absolutely crazy stuff, But we remember Terry Venables today, who sadly passed away at the age of 80. Let's get into the comments. The OGs are in there. Red Bird, my friend, how are you? I'm not too bad, pal. Let me know your thoughts on yesterday as well. Anyone in the chat? What did you think of the game? Morris is in. How are you, Morris? R.I.P. Terry, there's a great rant from Dunphy on YouTube. Yeah, absolutely. That's the one I was just alluding to. The debate between him and Giles and stuff like that was very, very interesting. But both guys actually made very good points at the time. I think looking at what we've had to deal with over the last 3 to 4 years in the Ireland setup, we would have gladly took Terry Venables, wouldn't we? So, what do you think, Morris? And of course, Redbird's in RIP, Mr. Venables. Yeah, absolutely. Unreal. Right, let's talk about the game yesterday. And I think we should probably start with the gaffer's post-match presser and what he thought and stuff like that. So we bring up our little post-match presser as we always do. Again, folks, let us know your thoughts if you're in the chat or anything like that. Let us know what you actually thought of the game yesterday, because there's a lot of indifferent conversations going around about it and stuff like that. So let me know the chat. One of the mascots has just come in now, so down there. So let me know your thoughts on it and stuff like that. But let's take this post presser. I'm feeling there was a goal in the game for Liverpool. He said, I told the boys at halftime, imagine we would play good, how the game could look, because we had good moments in the first half, but we didn't feel them properly. Yeah, I think that was kind of the overall situation, wasn't it? In the first half, we were creating opportunities. I thought the press was a little bit disjointed at times, but we were creating opportunities. But I just said it, and I said it on Twitter as well. There was just an allergic reaction to pulling the trigger at key moments, and it's like we were trying to. It was like there was either a lack of confidence, or we were giving them too much respect, and it was either one or the other. Yeah, Henry, if you want to come on, there's no problem. If you want to come on for a few minutes, no problem. I can drop the link in there. There it is. I'll pop it in the chat now for you. If you want to come on and give your thoughts on the game. Should be there now for you. But yeah, as he said, that's what he was kind of saying on that kind of thing. He says, hey, we told between Dom and Mo, better communication, that doesn't happen. Then the last line always against City. Yeah, like there was a number of things that he highlighted on that. Then he said on how much his team's mentality and defiance pleased him. He said mentality is a big word. When I speak about body language, it's a bit similar to mentality. I didn't like it too much in the first half, but it's really difficult. We are still in the early stages with this team. Before the game, I had to, in the press conference, talk about, can Macca play as a 6? Yeah, he can. He can, definitely. and everybody who saw the game could say he can play as a six. But how was it around? How compact were we around? That's then the problem. Yeah, so he was talking about kind of, although Maka was kind of doing his job in the six, Curtis kind of failed. He was making the point, and it was the point I made at halftime that both those guys needed to be hooked, both Jota and Curtis Jones. And I would have liked to see them hooked at halftime. And when we look at the starting lineup, I had views on that starting lineup. I don't think we went with the right starting lineup. I don't think we did the substitutions when we should have. And I also don't think the last kind of two or three substitutions were kind of a little bit weird to me, because we were kind of competing with City, although they were getting chances. We were still competing. And I think when we made those last two substitutions, and we'll talk about them, I think it kind of sucked it out of us and we drew them onto us and put us under probably unnecessary pressure. I don't know why the substitutions were made and stuff like that. I'm not playing till Thursday. What's the issue? Maybe the guys are out of gas or something like that. Let's take some comments. Morris, good point for Liverpool. Yeah, it was a good point. They had 23 home games in a row. Yeah, so we stopped them equaling Sunderland's record from 1890 to 92 or something like that, which was a small token thing, really. I don't think these records are very important to some people, but for most of us, really, are they how important are they? But it just goes to show, if you look at City's record now, I think the last two games, 2 draws. So that might plant a little seed of a little bit of doubt going forward and stuff like that. It's not often you see that happen. City normally bounce back fairly strong. Again, 2 tough games as well, Chelsea and Liverpool, so not that easy either. What's a crack, Niall? You want to guest? Absolutely. Henry's there in the background, so I'll bring Henry on now. I'll just bring this off. How are you, my friends?
Hi, Niall. I'm great, thank you very much. Just finished a podcast literally about 60 seconds ago.
Awesome. What was it on?
I was doing a Sunday service, so
nice.
I was very cautious because I know there's a lot of negativity around Christianity, etc. But I gave it a try and it's been warmly accepted, so I do it now every week.
As I always tell you, Henry, there's lots of negativity around everything. And if you were to take that approach, we'd never produce any content. So just keep on doing what you're doing and pushing forward.
Yes.
Is always the best advice I always give everyone.
I know, but with religion, it's... you never know what kind of response you're going to get, because I've been in the business virtually all my life, so but yeah, I mean, every advice that you have given me, Niall, has been spot on. I take it to heart, and I think you have a very wise head on your shoulders. So yes, I've got 254 subscribers because I lost one yesterday. But yeah, it's going good. I can't complain. I've been through the trials and tribulations. And next month I have my anniversary of 1 year of this channel. I'm having a party, if you're available, on December the 30th at 9 p.m. for anybody that wants to join in. I will have a call-in that evening. So if you're available, then come check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem at all. Morris is in. Great to see Henry, hard-working man. He knows you're pumping out the content as well. Redbird is in as well. City still look good in second gear, but was well pleased with a draw, as when our midfield finally clicks, we'll be up there with the best. Absolutely. I think there was a lot to take out of that, but I think that's the important thing that we have to reflect on in this game, that we probably had the opportunity maybe to do maybe a little bit more at the Etihad, because we know that City kind of aren't really pumping like we know City can pump. So I think there was more of an opportunity yesterday, but I think there was a kind of a cautiousness about us. I think we paid them a lot of respect, and rightly so, because we know how good they are. Yeah, maybe too much, but I mean, you're playing against a team that's just on coming off the back of a treble and stuff like that and all, So we know how good they are. We know how dangerous Holland can be and stuff like that. And I mean, even though,
Yes.
it took a moment of, it took a mistake from Allison really that led
Mm,
to the goal. But not only that, I think the two boys should have been much better in resolving it. I think sometimes when a situation like that occurs where the keeper, miss kicks a kick out or something like that, I
mm,
think sometimes you have to take the foul to let the team reset to get back
mm.
organised and stuff like that. And I think the two boys were really, really weak in terms of dealing with Ake as he came through them. I think they could have blocked it off there. The ball should have never got to
Yeah.
Holland. And I think the boys, I thought Trent was very lazy in his approach, just throwing the leg out sort of backwards and
Yes.
stuff like that and all. And I think what happened was the ball should have never got to Holland in the first place. And I think
Mm,
that was really weak as well. And I think just a bit more better understanding of that between Dom and between Trent. They should have either took him out, took the foul or whatever it is,
yeah.
and let us reset, but they didn't. But look, it's just something that happens, and that's the way it is. I
Yeah.
think
I
from our own
think.
point of view,
So,
go ahead, Jet.
yeah. Sorry. For interrupting. Um. My. Uh. I've only seen highlights because when we play City, it's very like you want to hide behind the sofa. So the parts that I have seen is the Matip play that got us the goal from Trent. As you watch the City players going up, they don't actually make a challenge at all. They just follow the
Mm.
ball and the player. They should have cut the ball out once, twice, but they allow the play to keep going down the left-hand side. And when it got to Salah, even, there was no challenges whatsoever made on our players when they should have done. It's like when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle and you've got the last piece and you're going round the jigsaw trying to find that last place. And that's what that play was.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think I
I,
think what I think what happened there, Henry, was they hadn't been we hadn't been shooting from distance. So because we hadn't been shooting from distance, I don't think they recognised that there was any threat on the edge of the box. I don't think they expected Trent to shoot. And I think that's why he scored, because he took Edison off guard. And the one thing I said when watching the match yesterday, I was watching with the son Ben, and the one thing I said to him is when Dominic burst in there and stuff like that, why aren't they taking the shot? Because Edison's a good keeper, but he's not necessarily a good keeper in those moments the way Allison is. And I think if we had took more shots at certain times yesterday,
yeah,
I think we would have reaped more rewards. And I think that's what the gaffer was talking about in the post match as well, when he was talking about how, in certain moments we didn't make the right decisions and stuff like that and all. But I thought it was really, really important that that we kind of recognized that as well, that we weren't really,
on the
what would
ball.
I say? Yeah, I think, and I think on Friday, I think the presser, when I did the preview as well, I had mentioned that the gaffer didn't sound overly confident. And I wondered did that trickle down into the players and into the performance, that it was like, right, we'll go to the Etihad, and the most important thing is not to get beaten because we don't want the gap to be 4 points.
Yes.
So we're happy to keep the gap at a point. We'll take a point away from there. A draw is a good result. Let's take that and let's move on and see what happens. But I just thought if we had been a little bit more about it yesterday, I thought there would have been so much more for us. Now, listen, they had lots of chances as well. And that's
Oh
not
gosh, yes.
let's not get away from that, And Allison obviously had a day to forget, really,
Yes, she
um,
did.
and also made a couple of saves as well. But I just think,
Yes.
even when discussing Trent and stuff like that, I mean, he got man of the match. I thought was kind of, I know he took the goal and stuff like that, but I thought that was a bit of a stretch. I know the gaffer turned around and said he was very good. He played a good game and stuff like that. I thought in the first half, I didn't think he was that good at all. I thought Doku absolutely had him on bread, really, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I thought he had a very tough first half.
Yeah.
And you could see in the way that he needed Dominic to come back to support him against Doku. He needed even Mo Salah at one stage was tracking back to support him and stuff like that and all. So you could tell he couldn't really deal with Doku. Now listen, most of our players on the pitch yesterday couldn't really deal with Doku. The odd time we did. And there's definitely an argument from my point of view, and I'm a Liverpool fan, for Doku even to be man of the match, because I thought he was sensational yesterday at times, in influencing the City play and stuff like that.
What did you make of the actual lineup when it actually first came out? Do you think that Klopp made a bad decision with the lineup? Because I think he made a bad decision about who should have played. Because I think when I did the prediction for this game, although Matip had a very good game, and Tsimikas also needs to have a shout out because he's still understudying Robbo until he eventually comes back from his arm injury. But I know I'm going to get backlash because I still don't think Jones is good enough to play for Liverpool Football Club. I just don't understand what his role is within the club, because I think Gravenberch should have started yesterday. I don't think Jones... Is he playing in the 8 that Wijnaldum used to play, who did a very good job, and you can't compare the two between Gravenberch and Jones. So I think Gravenberch should have started. McAllister should not be playing in the midfield. He's not a midfield player, in my opinion. He's more forward.
In terms of the six as opposed to an 8, you mean? Like, so he'd still be in midfield, but in an 8 as opposed to a 6. Because he's not a forward player, as in he doesn't go across the front line. You mean out on the 8 as opposed to the 6?
I would have had Alisson in goal, Trent. I was thinking maybe Kanate, but after seeing what Matip did, I think he did well to be chosen. Virgil and Tsimikas, but I would have put Kanate in, but as it turned out, Alisson and back four did reasonably well. And then, of course, I would have had Gravenberch, Dom, and oh God, my brain's gone dead.
Endo.
Who else is in midfield? Because I don't think Elliott is a starter player. I think Elliott does better to come off the bench. So I think, and I don't think Jota should be in the 10 position. I think Jota should either be in the, going through the middle and have Salah on the right, and either Diaz, because we tend to play a 4-3-3, but I've always likened the lineup where you have a free role in the midfield, like what Gerrard used to do. The free going from flanks to flanks to provide the ball to the forwards, like when we played. I think when we used to play 4-4-2. But now that I can't stand 4-3-3. I think it's better if we have the free role in behind the front two, so that the free players are helping the forwards, but they're also supporting those behind. Because if you're playing teams like City, who are very good at the quickly marking to stop the balls going out to each flanks, I think that if you've got the free players, that they can bolster the players that are being, let's say, shielded, to help the ball to be able to play out towards the flanks to then get movement up towards the forwards. Because otherwise they're just stuck in behind the wall of City players, so they can't get the ball out to the flanks, because that route up the centre.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from on that. I think yesterday the problem that we had is we kind of, because of the level of respect that we afforded them, I think we were playing very narrow. So if you look at when balls went down to Doku, he had an awful lot of space. If you look at when balls went down to Foden, he had an awful lot of space. And we kind of stayed compact around the 18-yard box. So we only came out to kind of stand up to them when the balls went out there. But we afforded them a chunk of space to do what they wanted to do. Hence the amount of balls that came into the box at times. I think with Matip, Matip was probably the right choice, because I think in recent times Konate has been a little bit erratic. And I think when you go up against a player like Haaland, if you're a little bit erratic, you can get the wrong decision go against you and Haaland break through and potentially score. So I could see why he went with Joel Matip. Also, I think Joel is probably, I would argue, probably our best central defender in terms of bringing the ball out. He tends to bring the ball out, but he tends to also eat up the pitch pretty quickly. So before you know it, he's in an attacking area very, very quick and bypasses the midfield. So I could see why he picked him. But I was a little bit concerned early on in the game, especially in the first half, how narrow Trent and Costas were when Foden was picking up the ball and Doku was picking up the ball. Because naturally, if you let players like that pick up the ball of that kind of quality and run at you, you're going to have a problem. So that was a concern for me. I think the situation with McAllister in the 6, I don't think Klopp is even. He's come out on Friday with what he said and post-match as well. I'm not sure whether he's convinced himself. I don't think McAllister moved to Liverpool to become a 6. I think he wants to become an 8, or he wants to get back into that 8 role. And it's just a case of us biding our time to get the right 6 in. I don't know whether Endo is the answer. I don't think he is. I think we're going to need to bring in a real quality 6 if that's the plan, and Endo might be the backup. Dominic yesterday, I thought he did okay. At times, he was a little bit out of the game. Jones and Jota were the ones that I pinpointed before the game, and I also pinpointed at half-time that we shouldn't have been starting with them. Jones, for all his quality and stuff like that, and he's greatly improved this season. Very unlucky with the injury and stuff like that, but he's greatly improved in terms of his possession going forward and stuff like that. Now, that works great when you're up against teams in the league that aren't of the quality of Man City, and you're given the space to do what you want to do. If you're trying to operate like that against a quality team like City, it kind of negates Jones's effect on the game, because his game is really about picking up the ball and driving forward and trying to create. And that doesn't work when you're playing counter-attack football, because he's not really the out. And he's not going to be the out in terms of speed and stuff like that. So that was kind of a strange decision for me. I would have much preferred to see Jota come off the bench, because I think when he comes off the bench, I think he can potentially have a better effect and stuff like that. So I thought we would have went with Diaz, and I thought we would have
Mm,
went with Gravenberch. I
yeah.
thought Gravenberch, for all his nous and his cleverness and the way he can open up space and find a couple of yards in tight
Mm,
positions, and we knew at times the midfield battle was going to be a kind of a strange one as well,
mm,
because we were going to afford them the possession and the space, and we were going to try and hit them on the counter. So that whole midfield battle felt strange at the best of times anyway,
mm,
because it kind of really wasn't where the game was, if you like. You know, how many times did we put out balls to Salah and stuff like that and all?
yeah.
And unfortunately, on the other side, when you've Diogo Jota out there, it's not really the same thing to hit him with an out ball like
No,
that.
it's
It doesn't
not.
really work that way. He needs to be fed in from central areas. I think Darwin has to stay in the middle as the nine.
Mm,
The reason for that is I think if you put him out on the wing, I think he has too much really to do. And when he has too much really to do, it gets a
mm,
little bit confusing. And we know that his shooting isn't necessarily pinpoint. So if we can try and keep him between the posts, then we've got a better chance of him getting shots on target. And if he does get shots on target, he will reap goals. So that's why I think they keep him central. But again, it wasn't his best day at the office either. Like I
no, it
don't think
wasn't.
I don't think anyone, with the exception probably of Van Dijk maybe, um, I don't think anyone really shone. I just think it was kind of a weird game where it didn't feel like two teams at the top of the table going at it.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I think City
yes, I do.
created their stuff. I think Liverpool. I think we struggled, especially in the first 40 minutes, to figure out the movement of City and what they were trying to do. It was a very different
Mm,
formation as well and stuff like that. And it was kind of weird as well. Um, and then Trent, of course, I think first half certainly struggled with Doku, which didn't help.
mm,
Obviously, the Allison situation, which led to the goal,
yeah.
didn't help. When you cough up a chance like that, it's really bad, especially against
Yes.
City because it's so difficult. But I definitely think the starting lineup, I think he got wrong. And then if I look at the substitutions, I think I was calling for Diaz and for Gravenberch to come on at half time. I think we
Yeah,
have to
I
be
was
just a
agreeing
bit
with you.
more clinical because I don't think even affording it another 10 minutes really affords you anything because I don't think it's going to change that much.
Mm,
Dominic for Cody was an interesting one. I think Cody came on and had somewhat of an influence when he came on. I was
mm,
surprised to see Dominic coming off. I know he didn't have his best day at the office either.
yeah.
He was like the rest of them, just decent, if you like. I mean, yesterday we seen if you looked at ratings, I didn't really look at the ratings much because there was no
Mm,
real point. But there was a lot of sixes there yesterday, and there wasn't too many, with the exception of Van Dijk, who
mm,
was probably an eight.
mm,
Everyone else was probably a six, and Allison on his day was probably a five. And that's how it kind of filtered out. The last two substitutions were the ones that were weird to me on the 85th minute. McAllister coming off for Endo and Darwin coming off for Elliott. Because I thought at that stage then we had sort of we'd invited City onto us somewhat. We were
yes.
really, really
Mm,
struggling then at that stage. And that's how I felt about those two substitutions. I thought it might have been worth leaving Darwin on. I don't think if you take Darwin off and you put Harvey on,
mm,
it's kind of a little bit imbalancing, if you like. Now,
yes.
obviously Cody had come on, so Cody was obviously going to then slot into the central nine position and stuff like that. And though again, I just think when you put him up against the likes of a Rodri, and it was interesting as well that City made no changes, so that was kind of a bit weird
Mm,
as well. Like
yeah.
he didn't kind of go for it either. He was kind of expecting the team that he put out there to try and get something laid on and stuff like that. And they
Mm,
came very, very close a number of times as well, in fairness. But I would have thought maybe, I don't know who was on their bench. I thought we would have seen who was there that could have come on. I mean, again,
yeah.
if you look at it, he didn't have a huge amount of choice there. I mean, who was there? There wasn't a whole lot. Maybe Rico Lewis could have on, Calvin Phillips, Sergio Gomez. There wasn't a huge amount there for him to work with either. So I understand maybe that's why he didn't make the
Mm,
change. But I thought for us, I thought those last two substitutions put
mm,
us on a bit more pressure than we needed to be under, if you like. Certainly in that situation.
I I think with the last substitutions, I think maybe he was settling for the point, but also in his mind's eye, he was thinking about the next game that we play against Linz on Thursday. So And because it was a draw, and with the results going on today, I think it's going to be so tight at the top with
Yeah, we're in for a hell of a title
Arsenal.
race, aren't we? We're in for a hell of a title race.
It is, yeah. And who finishes top at Christmas? I mean, can you imagine, like, all four teams on whatever, 30 points or something like that come Christmas? Because our next games after are somewhat easier, I think, than City's, Arsenal's, and Spurs games. So I think
Well,
if you can get
We've Arsenal and United coming up in December, haven't we? So that's going to be interesting.
yes, but I don't think they will be as hard as playing City.
Um, I suppose it depends which players United get back, because obviously they've been hammered by
Yeah,
injuries and stuff like that. So
but
that
they
could change
can't
the
beat us.
dynamic. Well, we shall see. We shall see. You know, never say never. You know, and especially like, I mean, we're not exactly flying at the moment either. You know,
No,
we had
we're
a good
not. But
result. We had a good result in the last game. We were okay yesterday. We were poor against Toulouse and we were poor against Luton. So, let's see what happens there. I think with Arsenal are showing a steeliness about them that I like when I talk about teams
mm,
going for a championship. They're not necessarily playing really well, but they're not
no,
giving a whole lot away, and they're
mm,
finding a way to win. And if you're Kai Havertz scoring a goal in the 88th minute to put your team top of the league, they're finding that kind of
mm,
that steeliness you have to grind out to be champions. I think last
yes,
year
we
what
do.
happened was
Mm,
they were playing so well and they were beating teams so easy. And I think they got into a false sense of security about it. I think this year they're having to graft a lot more to get what they want. And I think they're developing a bit of a
yes.
backbone there that's going to be tough to
Mm,
beat. So those kind of matches, I wouldn't be taking that for granted yet. And of course, with the way this season has gone, injuries and everything else that's going on, it's
mm,
absolutely crazy. By the time we get around to December in another week or two,
yeah.
the whole dynamic could have changed. Acers is in. Ruben Diaz disallowed goal should have been given, was never a foul on Allison.
Mm, yes, it should have been given.
I
It
think
was not a
I
foul.
well I agree to the point, but if you put your hand up on a guy's arm and it's a goalkeeper, I think then you have to. That I think is what the clinching decision was. I think if he'd have jumped up and not put his hand on his arm, I think it might have been given. We've seen them given, we've seen them not given. Of course, unlucky, but I do
Potato,
think.
potato.
Yeah, well, I could tell by Allison's reaction as well. He wasn't totally animated, but I think he
mm,
was quite relieved. But he didn't have a good day at the office yesterday. Daz is
no,
in.
he
Big up,
didn't.
Daz.
And
What's the
neither
crack,
did the
more?
referee.
All good. Yeah, absolutely. And this was the referee that there was so much talk about beforehand. I mean, I
Yes.
don't think there was a whole lot. There wasn't an awful lot in that game yesterday that I would pinpoint in terms of referee and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think it was a reasonably ref game yesterday for a
yeah.
change. I don't think he tried to spoil it. I don't think he wanted to be dishing out cards, and I thought it was probably played somewhat in the right manner. Now, City fans might disagree, I should say, with some of the decisions,
Mm,
but sometimes they go for against you. But they weren't usually controversial. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We got lucky against Burnley. You did get lucky against Burnley, but listen,
yeah.
you ride your luck. That's the way you do it. It's not that bad. Absolutely, Stephen. CM Punk. Wow, we were up to the early hours, Henry, watching Survivor Series, and CM Punk returned, and it was absolutely monstrous.
Yeah.
Morris is in company. What a chancer. Yeah, I don't know. Like he's just. I
I
think
don't
they're
think
gonna
he
have.
will
I think they're
last.
gonna have to make it. They're gonna have to make a change, aren't they? Darren's
Mm,
convinced that they'll stick with him. I think they'll have to make a change. He ain't getting a tune out of those boys at the moment. Shout out to Triple H, yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Triple H. We'll be covering that tonight. Don't forget to join us tonight, 8:30. We'll be doing a full review of Survivor Series. So come back, let us know what your thoughts are and stuff like that. It was absolutely unbelievable. Any news on Jota injury? I
what
haven't got a
actually
full
happened with
update.
Jota?
I think he didn't. He go down. He was going down holding a hamstring, I think, and I haven't had an update on it yet. Well, let's see if there's anything there.
Because if he's done his hamstring, he's not going to be able to be fit for Thursday, which would mean
I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be worrying. I know we said the same about the Toulouse game,
yes,
but I
I
mean,
know.
if we're worrying about Lask, we've got bigger problems there. I
Yeah.
haven't got an update on it. I'm not too sure how serious it is. The boys will go for scans tomorrow anyway. I think Allison is the same as well. He tweaked something as
Yeah.
well, so we'll see. But I mean, we've got Lask up next, and then I think we have Fulham. I think Queeveen is more than capable if we need him. So I don't think there's a big up Morris. 1-0 to Tottenham. 1-0 to Tottenham. Own goal, says Acers. 1-0 to Celso. 1-1 Watkins. So it's all firing off there between Villa and Spurs. Great stuff to see.
Yes.
Redbird. Best moment of the game was Trent shushing the shitty fans. And just for you, Redbird, I did prepare. Just for you, we have the man there absolutely doing it. And didn't he take his goal lovely yesterday? So hats off to him and stuff like that. But yeah, I think just in those key moments and stuff like that, I think just that little bit more attention to detail and that kind of nous of knowing, if something goes wrong or goes astray, shut it down straight away, take the foul, shut it down straight away and do what has to be done, That's what clever, experienced players do, So, but it's only a small thing. Bless up, Redbird. Hope you are well today. Ali injury is a worry as good as Kella was last year. He's not been good this season when he's played. Yeah, I think, do you know what that is, Redbird? I don't think it's necessarily that he hasn't been as good. I think when he's come into teams where there's nearly been 11 changes. So it's like a whole new team. I would like to see Queeveen play, when he has like Trent and Van Dijk and, a settled team in front of him, stuff like that. If you look at some of those teams we've put out in those Europa Leagues, they've been weird to say the least, and I wouldn't put that all on Kelleher. I know at times he hasn't done himself any favours, but I think as well when you're not in the core of the team, where I know you want to make changes for the Europa League or Carabao Cup or FA Cup or whatever it is, but you got to keep maybe a core 7 or 8 players there and then maybe make 3 changes or something it is. But when we've gone into the Europa League, we've been making wholesale changes and we've been asking players to play in different positions and stuff like that as well. So I don't think it's all on Queeveen. We're winning games, but not playing incredibly well. And listen, didn't United do that for years? Isn't that how United racked up their leagues for years at times? Even at times when they didn't play well, they get over the line, Fergie time, injury time. Like what Arsenal, when I looked at Arsenal and Kai Havertz scoring yesterday, the first thing I thought about was Fergie time with United back in the day. Bless up Daz, mate. Absolutely. Could we have had a penalty yesterday, Niall? I don't know. It'd be harsh. I think in fairness, I think the ref did a good job of reffing the game. I don't think he was too far off and stuff like that, so I'm not too sure.
Did you see the Twitter, Niall, with someone had a nail in their hand that had been thrown in crowd?
No, I hadn't seen that.
On Twitter.
No, I hadn't seen that.
Huge nail, about that big.
Yeah.
And it's part of the hand.
I hadn't seen it. So yeah. Jota Nelson will be back for the United game. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Both muscular, Jota ruled out, Allison 25% fit. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, Ali wouldn't have been playing on Thursday anyway. Jota probably would have been. But it's no harm. I mean, if you look at the form, I don't think Luis Diaz's form is great either. Now, we know he's gone through a horrific experience with the mum and dad and all that kind of stuff and all. But he came on yesterday as well. Didn't produce a whole lot, did he? Really? So, yeah, that was one that I looked at. I suppose we have to talk about this man, as tough as it is. What a record. 50 goals in 48 games. More than a goal a game. The nearest to him, of course, Andy Cole and Shearer. But this is phenomenal. I mean, you go down through the list. Look at Mo Salah there. Mo Salah's on 72 games, 50 goals. You look at Erling Haaland, 48 games, 50 goals. He's an absolute goal machine. I know people turn around and go, but that's all he does. But listen, that's not such a bad thing, is it? It's the hardest thing on the pitch to do, is to score goals. So I wanted to mark that and just put it up there. And look, he's in very good company there. When you think of Andy Cole, how good Alan Shearer was. I know Henry is just below Mo Salah as well. There's a bigger list. Henry is in there. Van Nistelrooy, there's like Alan Shearer. There's some serious players in there as well. And we all know how good Andy Cole was as well. So absolutely phenomenal from Haaland yesterday. Even though he had a bit to do, but we kind of gifted it to him a little bit, didn't we? Really. What did you make of this yesterday? What was this all about? I wasn't too sure what this was all about. There was talk coming out that Pep had said that he had a go at him about scoring, and Darwin wasn't happy at all. He was quite irate. What did you make of it?
Well, as they were coming off the pitch, like Pep was greeting Klopp, and then suddenly something was said to Darwin, and Klopp had to intervene in between the two because I think something not quite nice because of saying that Haaland has scored, but you haven't, sort of thing, and riling him up. And I think Darwin wanted to probably punch him in the face or something of that nature, and Klopp had to quickly intervene and try and centre Darwin and get him into that space where he's just thinking of the point that we won and not that he wanted to smash Pep in, because he would have got a straight red.
It took a bit to calm him down as well. Like, he didn't calm down straight away. He was bullying of that. I laughed at Klopp's comments in the post-match presser where he turned around and he says, "For a change, it wasn't me. I was the one being the mediator and calming things down," which I thought was hilarious. But I think Jurgen said things were sorted out after the fact and stuff like that. It was kind of like it wasn't. I don't think he said it was a big deal and stuff like that and all. He didn't allude to what was said, obviously, but that's what you get, yourself. But these South American boys and stuff like that, they wear their heart on their sleeve and they're kind of high spirited as well, and they don't like to be they dare I say they like to put a little bit of that shithousery out there, but they don't like taking it. They like to give it and stuff like that. So but certainly it was an interesting upheaval towards the end of the game, of course. Just want to mention as well, Joel Matip, 200 games for Liverpool. Great milestone for Joel.
Yes, to reach that milestone is quite something. So well done to Joel.
Well, especially for him as well. He's been so plagued with injuries and stuff like that as well. Goodness knows, I think if he had been able to stay somewhat fitter and stuff like that, he could be up around 250, 300 games even, because for large chunks of his Liverpool career, he's had to deal with injuries and stuff like that. And it's only in recent times they've found a way through sports science and through training and all that kind of stuff to try and keep him fitter a hell of a lot more and stuff like that, which is only good for the team as well. Because that's the biggest problem I have with the likes of Thiago and stuff. They just never seem to be fit, and that's the problem. And that's why maybe that's a case in January that we have to move on and he has to go out the door. But I think with Joel, it's a big milestone and stuff like that. 200 games for any club at that level is absolutely fantastic, and I thought I'd mark it as part of the show. So hats off. Congratulations to Joel Matip. What a servant he's been for the club.
We should call him plastic.
Oh, yeah. And again, it's a weird one as well because they get injured as well, and it seems like a simple injury, like an ankle knock or something like that. And then they'd be just gone for 3 months. Like, if you think about that Thiago injury, that hip injury, we were originally thinking, 4 to 6 weeks. I haven't seen him in 9 months. You know what I mean?
Is he ever going to play for Liverpool again, Thiago?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think so because
he's gone.
Yeah, because I suppose the risk is that if we do play him or he comes back in December and we play him, he'll probably get injured again. So I think the best solution for everyone, and I love Thiago, and it's a shame. It's a shame that he's had these injury issues and stuff like that and all. But I think the best solution for everyone is maybe a fresh start for Thiago, and we move on from it, to be honest.
Yes.
I do think he's a great player and stuff like that. Trent is my star boy, says Jack. Absolutely, Jack.
Yeah. if he can get
Absolutely.
back fit. Otherwise, I think he needs to retire because he is 32. So I can't see that he has much more playing days left, to be honest, if he can't stay fit with the
I
utmost
think maybe
strength.
I think maybe if he finds a solution like maybe the Saudi Pro League or something like that, where it's not as
Mm,
hard on him or something like that, and there's maybe there might be some maybe less games and he might be able to go over there. There's still a lot of star quality there. He's still a fabulous footballer with a fabulous mind. The problem is he just can't stay fit. So maybe if he goes over there and it's a different way of training, it's a different climate, all that kind of stuff, maybe that might work for him. Who knows? I would like to see him playing again. But
yes.
I just think maybe the time at Liverpool and with what we've done in the midfield,
Mm,
and we're looking at even more midfielders, and Stefan has to come back.
mm.
Harvey's breaking through. Curtis is doing what he's doing, plus what we've brought in and what we had. Um, I don't even see where it fits in now either. You know what I mean? So it's
I don't
although I,
either.
although I would have loved to have him in there yesterday instead of Curtis, but however, that's just a small
Unless we
point.
play him instead of Jones, but then you've got Gravenberch, so I really don't see him getting in at all. Like I said, he's had his days with Bayern, then came to us, so this is kind of his last contract as a football player. Um, I don't know. I don't know how he feels in himself. To does he want to see out his playing days with Liverpool, or does he want to cut loose and go and join a lower team? Because he's done Europe, he's done Prem. Would he go to Serie A, League One, or
I don't think Serie A would be a good move for him. He's 32. This is his last big contract.
mm,
I think you're looking at probably the MLS. There was talk of potentially going back to Barcelona, but I don't think that would work either.
no?
Um,
I
like
can't see him getting in.
the romance of it would be cool, but I think
Mm,
he'll either end up at the MLS or he'll end up in Saudi. I think he'll get a
mm,
big contract offer. A fair play to him. Go get the money if that's what you want to do. And I think it'll be just an easier kind of schedule, if you like, and stuff like that. Because I don't even know if he's fit. I don't even know if he starts. You know what I mean? So, and I think he'll want to play because he's conscious, obviously, of the time, the injuries, and all that kind of stuff. And remember, he
yes,
literally, if he was to come back in the new year, he literally won't have kicked the ball for nearly a year.
yes.
So it's even when he's fit to come back in, it's the difference between being a fit footballer and being
Mm,
match fit are two very different things. And if we put him through the rigor to get him back match fit, he might break down again. So I think it's time maybe to cash in and take some money and stuff like that and
yeah,
reinvest that in an Andre or whoever we want to go for. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I think we need that core amount of midfielders. Like we're in the Carabao
yes.
Cup, we're in the Europa League, we'll be
Mm,
in the FA Cup, we'll be pushing, hopefully be in a title race in the league as well and
mm,
stuff like that. We're gonna need an awful lot of players. We've been very lucky so far, somewhat with injuries. But that won't necessarily last the whole
oh
season. So
gosh, no.
I think it's really, really important that we recognise that.
yes.
What's the crack? I seen Ian on your podcast. Was it last night? Very good. Really enjoyed looking at it.
Hi, Richie. Lovely to see you.
That's it. Yeah. Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron 2 was unbelievable. It was. Katie Taylor. Hats off to Katie Taylor last night. What a warrior she is. They went the distance, and those two girls absolutely put on a clinic. Beat each other from pillar to post. And no doubt we're going to get the rubber match in the new year. And hopefully it's in around the summer. And who knows, maybe Crow Park or maybe the Aviva might put it on. It was an unbelievable fight. And I said before the fight, people were writing Katie Taylor off. And I said, don't write Katie Taylor off. She's had much more time now to adjust because she moved up a weight class in all Henry. And it takes time to adjust to that and stuff like that. But she was phenomenal yesterday. She had a great game plan. She didn't waste her punches in the first fight she had with Chantel. She kind of was wasting a lot of work and stuff like that. And when you're carrying more weight and stuff like that, it catches up on you very quick and you get gassed out. She was phenomenal last night. So proud that she's Irish. So proud that she's from a town just next to my town, just up the road here in Bray. What a what a person to represent Ireland on the world stage and stuff like that. She's just a phenomenal human being, and hats off to her. Spot on aces, unbelievable. Arguably, probably fight of, in the women's division, probably one of the greatest fights I ever seen. And this year, probably one of the best fights this year. So, yeah, unbelievable across the board, including the men. So, absolutely phenomenal. Might go eat some chili in a sec from my tea last night. Very good. Very good. I like that. Any chance jumping on the pod? We're just about to finish, Just about to finish. We're just going through a few bits here, and then I'm off because I have to get ready downstairs for dinner and stuff like that and all. And I have a pod tonight at 8:30 Survivor Series. Tiago hasn't done enough for me to deserve the overboard adulation our fans give him. Unpopular opinion, I know, but it is what it is. They should have sold him when they were offered decent money from. Yeah, I think it's a catch-22, really, isn't it? Because we couldn't, because of the situation, because we didn't sign midfielders, it was a catch-22. We couldn't sell him. We had to keep him. And then when it came time to sell him, he had re-injured himself and stuff like that and all. I kind of agree with your Redboard to a point. I do think he's a sensational player. I think when he's fit and he plays, he can do things on the pitch and he can see things in a game that other players just don't see. Whether he's brought that to Liverpool or not is another thing. At times he's been unplayable. But again, for me, when we talk about players, it's all about availability. Always all about availability. Also, City fans need to get a grip, teaming screws at our fans. It's a bloody football game. Yeah, I think, Henry, that's what you were alluding to, the nails and stuff like that and all, weren't you? That's what you were talking about. Henry, are you doing a live stream tonight? Jack wants to know.
No, I don't do Sunday nights because I've got to be up first thing in the morning. I'm having way too many late nights, going to bed at 1 a.m. in the morning when I've got to be up at 10 in the morning and be out. So no, sorry, no late Sunday night. I only do the one on Sundays.
Jack is in.
I just cannot. I'm getting too old for all these late nights. I've got to get back into my routine of early going to bed, ready for Monday mornings, because I can't keep going to bed at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I just can't do it.
Listen, you're entitled to a night off at the amount of content you're putting out anyway. It doesn't have to be every night, so fair play to you. Redbirds in. Jack, will City get fined for their knobhead fans throwing nails and screws? I doubt it. But if it had have been us, it would be all over the media. It just depends what goes into the referee's report and if it was highlighted to the referee. That's really where that all comes about. I'll jump on Survivor Series pod later on. Yeah, no problem at all. Absolutely. Still crazy to believe that Terry Venables sold Maradona when he became Barcelona manager. Yeah, God, it's just, sometimes, look, if you do as many deals for players as Terry Venables did in his life, you're going to get maybe one or two wrong, aren't you? At Redbird, mate, I couldn't agree more with you, bro. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. What else have I got? I think that's basically it, is it? That's everything we've covered. So yeah, as I said, thanks for joining me, Henry, on the podcast. Make sure you go over Henry Ray Baker channel. Go over there, growing all the time, content all the time. Absolutely, this guy Henry is absolutely banging it out of the park at this stage of content on a daily basis, smashing it up and stuff like that. So make sure you're showing your support. These shows do take a lot of work, and a lot of time people don't see what goes on in the background preparing for shows and stuff like that. So always show your appreciation. I will be back at 8:30 with a Survivor Series review. It was an absolute belter last night. I'm sure some of you will join me, you wrestling fans, stuff like that. CM Punk returned, Randy Orton returned. It was absolutely sensational. We'll chat about that. Tomorrow I'll be back with Mark, our resident referee, Baby Elvis from Stockley Park. He will be on the Monday mashup where we'll be discussing all the fallout from the weekend. Wednesday I'll be back with Pro Wrestling Weekly. Thursday with Thursday Tier Talk with Dazzler. All the usual shows that
I don't do
there.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Pacers is in Tottenham.
One thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you finish.
Of course.
Why NWA 66? Is that Jack from Anfield?
No, not
Anfield
Anfield Road
Road.
TV. No, that's a different. This is a different Jack. This
Oh,
Jack
in
here
that
actually.
case,
This Jack here is a Tranmere supporter as well.
right, yes. In that case, that's all done with. So yes, thank you very much for allowing me on the chat, Niall. I appreciate
No
it,
problem.
and I will be in your chat for the wrestling this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack is in. If anyone cares about women's football, I don't. It's not really my cup of tea. That's fine. It depends on what time you have and
I
stuff
do.
like that. No, if you want, if you do want to follow the women's football and the academy football,
It's on
Henry
my
is the
channel.
channel to check out. He follows it religiously. I will catch you all later, folks. So
Mm,
listen, enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully, not often I would cheer for Everton, but today I'm going to be cheering for Everton. That is for sure. And I hope Aston Villa can get the win as well because I want the whole table to tighten
mm,
up. I think Everton have been harshly done by, so I'd love to see them get the win today. I think
yeah.
if they get the win today, do they crawl out of the bottom three as well? I'm not too sure. I know the other day it looked like it anyway, so we'll see. Um, but hopefully they can get the win today. But certainly it's going to be
Yeah.
emotional. It could be guaranteed plenty of cards. And we will see how it all kicks off at four.
Quitting.
I think it's 4:30. Absolutely. Full of a Sheffield United 6 points easily. Let's see what
Should be.
happens. Should be, hopefully. Until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel and Henry's channel. Hit up all the channels out there. Jack's one as well. Whoever's in the chat, give them all your love and support and all and stuff like that. Like the video, hit the bell notification button, share the content, follow us on all the socials, and of course, make sure you're checking out Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music if you want to hear the audios of our shows. I'm not always the most appealing to look at, so that's why we do the audio shows for you as well. Until next time, Henry, pleasure as always. Talk to you again real soon.
Bye bye.